Hey guys, it's Griffin here. Before we get started today, I wanted to address another nickname that was suggested by you guys in the comments. Today's nickname has been suggested once again by UberDan9254. And UberDan has suggested Fun Guy for our Paris. Fun Guy is obviously meant to be a pun on the plural word fun guy, which is of course the plural word for fungi or mushrooms. So there you go, UberDan. Paris has been named Fun Guy thanks to you. Now, let's start the video. Hey guys, it's Griffin here, and welcome back to Pokémon HeartGold. Last time, we went through the national park, we entered the bug contest, we caught a horribly mediocre Scyther and objectively the weakest Pokémon in the game. But we also got through a lot of battles, we talked about a lot of new bug Pokémon, and we did have the opportunity to get some Pokédex entries for some Pokémon that otherwise are not obtainable in the game. So, I still feel somewhat accomplished doing that. Anyway, this time, we're gonna head beyond the national park and see what lies further east. Now let's head out. It's another beautiful Saturday morning. There isn't really anything new that we need to do here, though I do want to point out that there is one more egg from Primo in my party for the time being, so hopefully we will see that little egg hatch today and round everything out. So let's head out. Oh, hi, you're very close to the door. Today's Saturday. That means bug catcher contest is on today. Rules are simple. Wait, you can actually do the bug test from here? I did not know that. I thought it was only the other gate. Well, good to know. If you want to do the bug contest and don't feel like doing it at the other main gate, you can talk to this guy. That I legitimately did not know that. My bad. Let's head out. Okay, so welcome to Route 36. Trainer tips. Same kind of Pokemon may look the same, but they can grow differently. Their strengths may look the same in the beginning, but those strengths can change as they grow. This is a little hint that is referring to natures. Now I want to grab this. I believe this is a blue apricorn. Yep, it's a blue apricorn, but it's spelled B-L-U, not B-L-U-E, because God forbid we use more than 3 letters. Anyway, as we can see here, we have some trainers to fight. And as usual, we have some new Pokemon to talk about in this brand new route. So I think while I'm going ahead and fighting the new trainers here, I'm going to talk about some Pokemon that we can fight. Or find rather. I cannot talk today. Let us fight, trainers. Let me guess what you're thinking. No. You don't get to know what I'm thinking. Anyway, there are 3 new Pokemon that we can find on this route. But before we go over them, I want to point out something I learned about Route 36 while making notes for this video. In Pokemon Crystal version only, there is a patch of grass in the area where we originally visited Route 36. Yeah, you may have forgotten that we have technically visited Route 36 before, when we visited the Ruins of Alph. Anyway, this patch of grass was added there to make it easier for players to access the Pokemon that we are about to talk about. But for some reason, they did not include it in the remakes. Very bizarre. Anyway, our first Pokemon, which is exclusive to Pokemon HeartGold, is Growlithe. Growlithe is a solid Fire-type Pokemon to get, especially for this early in the game. It has decent stats across the board, learns excellent moves through Level Up, comes as one of the best abilities in the game in the form of Intimidate, and gets amazing stats once you are able to evolve it into Arcanine, which turns it into one of the most well-rounded jack-of-all-trades Pokemon in the game. It learns a ton of incredibly powerful moves through TMs, gets most of the elemental thing attacks, and is one of very few Pokemon to learn Extreme Speed, an 80 power normal type move that is basically the superior version of Quick Attack. Now, some of you may recall that in my Fire Red Let's Play, I expressed concerns about raising a Growlithe, due to its better moves not coming until very late, which forces players to keep Growlithe as such very late into the game to get them. However, I have good news and bad news on this matter. The good news is, Growlithe actually does get Flamethrower at a much more reasonable level, level 34. Not early, but not as bad as it once was. However, if you want to get its best Fire-type moves, you are still going to have to wait until evolving it until at least level 48. Growlithe gets Agility at level 39, Crunch at 42, Heat Wave at level 45, which is very rare, and Flare Blitz at level 48. a 120 power physical fire type move with recoil that has a 10% chance to burn the opponent. It's a lot of work to make Growlithe a success, but in the long run, Arcanine with those moves makes it all worth it. Just be aware that while Growlithe does come with Roar, which forces you to flee the battle if used, so be prepared to try catching it multiple times. Alternatively, in Soul Silver, you can find Vulpix. Now, unlike Growlithe, Vulpix's stats can leave a little to be desired at times. Its biggest stats are speed and special defense, which unfortunately does not allow it to realize its offensive potential. Vulpix and its evolved form Ninetales are Pokemon that got the short end of the stick when they split the original special stat. And unfortunately, this put them in the same position that Hypno is in. That said, also unlike Growlithe, Vulpix is much easier to raise and gets good moves early on. It gets Flamethrower at level 24, which is very early, and while it does get a couple of good moves later down the line, you could totally be fine with just evolving Vulpix right after, unless you really want Ninetales to learn Extra Sensory. Regardless, it may not compare to Growlithe, but it's still decent as a fire type, and you'll find yourself making good use out of it during the main story and post-game. And before I forget, make note that rematching School Kid Alan on this route on Wednesdays can net you a Firestone. So the same place you can get Growlithe and Vulpix is the same place you can get their Evolution Stones. Unless you want to play at the Pokeathlon on Tuesday instead. Okay, so we're here in front of this weird tree. There is one more Pokemon that we do need to talk about, but we'll save that for a little later. I want to talk to you right now. On the flower shop, it's Floria. Listen. When I sprinkled water on that wiggly tree, it jumped right up. It just has to be a Pokemon. If you soaked it... Oh, that's a squirt bottle. Soak the tree for me. I want to see what happens. So yes, we can do this. Now, before I do that, I actually want to make a couple of adjustments here. I'm going to go ahead and put Rido in the front for now. And before you do anything, I highly recommend that you save your game before we interact with this tree, because it definitely is going to matter. Hopefully it won't be necessary, but I can't guarantee that. Let's get started. There's an odd tree. Use a squirt bottle? Sure, why not? I love squirting water on random trees that dance. The odd tree doesn't like the squirt bottle. The odd tree attacked! Oh god, it's aggressively wiggling! Sudowoodo has appeared! This is our first field encounter. And while Sudowoodo is not the most impressive Pokemon out there, it is still worth saving your game to make sure you can capture this thing. Why? Because this is the one and only opportunity in the entire game for you to catch Sudowoodo. Going into Sudowoodo as a Pokemon, it is meant to serve as a tanky physical attacker. It has very impressive physical stats, with a solid base 100 attack and 115 defense. It learns multiple hard-hitting rock-type moves, as well as some dark, fighting, and even a grass-type move in the form of Wood Hammer. Plus, unlike most rock types, Sudowoodo is a pure rock type, meaning that it is not quad weak to anything, and it is not weak to ice type. The biggest problem with Sudowoodo is its mediocre special bulk, and especially its speed. It's seldom, if ever, going to go first in battle, and will almost always take a hit before it gets to do anything. Who would have guessed that the unmoving tree didn't move very fast? But against the right opponents, Sudowoodo can be genuinely helpful. If you plan on raising one, I recommend getting one with Rock Head instead of Sturdy for the ability. Sturdy at this point in the series does not function like it does in later versions, and Rock Head will generally be more useful because of that. Also, it does have a baby Pokemon that you can breed in the form of Bonsly. However, right now we do not have what we need to get Bonsly from breeding Sudowoodo. If you try to breed it right now, you'll just get another Sudowoodo. Anyway, now that the preamble has been dealt with, let's actually try to catch this thing. I always recommend trying to go for some sort of sass-inflicting move, and fortunately we have Thunder Wave, so that should hopefully make this a little easier. As mentioned earlier, Sudowoodo is a pure rock type, so even though the anime may lead you to believe otherwise, rock types can be damaged with electric type attacks. It's ground types that cannot be damaged through electricity, so pure rock types like Sudowoodo are totally fair game in this case. Ooh, interesting. So Sudowoodo right there used Mimic. And so now, for the duration of this battle, Sudowoodo will have Thunder Shock as part of its moveset. Very, very unique. Of course, it's not going to prioritize using Thunder Shock because that's not going to do much. Especially with Rock Throw doing that as much as it did. My goodness. Okay. Yeah, we need that Shell Bell. My goodness. Oh, God. Okay, that is Flail. Flail is a move that has higher power the lower the Pokemon's HP. Now, considering where we are and given that Sudowoodo's catch rate is not particularly great, I'm going to try a Great Ball here and hope for the best. 1, 2, 3. There we go. First attempt, first Pokeball. Can't complain about results. Excellent job, Rido. Sudowoodo's data was added to the Pokédex. Sudowoodo, the imitation Pokemon. Although it always pretends to be a tree, its composition appears more similar to rock than to vegetation. Yeah, I don't get what they were going for with this one. But either way, if you want to give Sudowoodo a nickname, feel free to recommend one in the comments. That was fun. I want to give you this for entertaining me. Griffin obtained the berry pots. Put the berry pots in the key out in his pocket. With the berry pots, you can grow any berry from any region with no worries. That's right, I'll give you some berries too. Berry pots won't do any good without berries. We obtained the Oran berries. We obtained the Pecha berries. You have to plant berries in the soil. You should water them from time to time, then they'll grow strong. I have to go back to Goldenrod. Are you heading for Ecruteak? Then you should go north here. See you around. And like that, a massive inconvenience has been removed. What do you want, Joey? Griffin, good morning. It's Joey, you sleeping in? Oh yeah, I saw a wild Metapod. I thought about going for it, but then I failed. Oh well, I guess that's just the way it goes. I'm not very good at catching Pokemon. What, you thought I was going to talk about his Rattata? Joey's not just a one-trick pony, and that's the beautiful thing I like about the calls, is that they can have different lines. Anyway, I'm going to go heal up a little bit, and then we will press further on. For those of you curious as to Sudowoodo's nature, it turned out to be Bold Nature, and also Sturdy for the ability. Not the ability I wanted, but it's not like I was going to raise it anyway. Well, it's not a bad nature for Sudowoodo, all things considered. Now, before we continue on, there are a couple things I do want to address. If we head down here from Route 36, you can see here, there is a little shortcut to get you back onto Route 35 if you want to get there a little quicker. Of course, you do need a Pokemon with the move Cut, and I do not have that at the immediate moment, but it is there if you want to take advantage of it. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this is a route that we've previously gone on. Now, we can easily access Violet City and the Ruins of Alph if we want to do that. I'm not going to address that right now, but we do have the ability to head back if we want. And as for the Berry Pot, or Berry Pots, I don't understand why they refer to it as plural, but in any case, I will be addressing the Berry Pots at a later time. There's a lot of mechanics about it that I don't want to discuss right at this moment, but I do recommend that once you do get it, start using the Berry Pots for Oran Berries, for reasons that will become apparent later. But I'll get into the specifics of that later on. For now, we need to press further on ahead, because there's some stuff that we need to get. Right here, there's a Hyper Potion. Very nice. Another quick way to restore HP quickly. Another trainer tips right here. The move Dig can take you back to the entrance when you use it. If you want to explore a cave or something similar, Pokemon with Dig will be quite useful. Yes, it is a very helpful thing to have. Now, welcome to Route 37. There are even more trainers for us to fight, and there's only one new Pokemon that we need to talk about, both with respect to this area and the previous one. So I'm going to fight the trainers here, and we're going to talk about it. Looks like we have some double battles coming up, so given that Kenya is currently the second slot, and I don't want that, I'm going to switch Rido in, and we're going to have ourselves a party. Let's go! Let's battle! Alright, I'm bringing out all Pokemon. Or bringing out a Pokemon. Yes, you're gonna bring out all Pokemon for this one double battle, including God. Anyway, the last Pokemon that we can find in this area for now is Stantler. Now, unfortunately, Stantler is a Pokemon that kinda needed an evolution to be great. And while it will receive one in the future, or the past, I suppose, it's not in this game. So we're stuck with what we have for the time being. There are still some positives about it. It does have decent offensive stats, allowing it to function as a mixed attacker. It is Stomp and Hypnosis early on, which can be useful for flinching opponents and putting them to sleep. And it can come with Intimidate, which, as I've said, is one of the best abilities in the game. Unfortunately, it has mediocre defenses and HP and learns very few offensive moves, and is ultimately outclassed by other normal types that you will be able to get for yourself very soon. Despite these problems, I actually earnestly recommend catching one, as it can prove helpful in the upcoming gym fight for somewhat unconventional reasons. But I wouldn't recommend this for the long run. Okay, that takes care of all the trainers on this route. There were some very annoying double battles in there, especially with, I don't know if you guys saw, the 2 Wigglytuffs and a 2 Clefable. That one took a while, but we got through it. Now, there are still a couple things we need to do. First of all, there are 3 more apricorn trees that we can farm apricorns from. Got a black apricorn, another blue apricorn, and over here, a red apricorn. Very useful. Now, even though we've cleared through all the trainers here, there are still some Pokemon that we need to catch. Namely, we need to catch Growlithe and Stantler. So, I'm gonna go around for a little bit and try to find those two because I do want to try to get them. Pidgey, still not gonna happen. Ah, there we go. There's a Stantler. Now the question is, does this have Intimidate? No, it does not have Intimidate. It has Frisk. That's fine, though. As you can see, Stantler is annoyingly fast with Astonish. All right, come on, baby. Give me that electric shock. All right, well, fortunately, actually, I think based on how things are behaving here, because Stantler attacked second after I inflicted paralysis, I think we actually are encountering a speed tie. Not that it matters now since I paralyzed Stantler, but a very rare occurrence of a genuine speed tie. If there is a speed tie that occurs, the game basically just flips a coin to decide who goes first. It's totally random. Oh, there we go. One of Stantler's most infamous moves. Not that we haven't seen this move before, but it does know Hypnosis. So that is one reason that you may want to consider getting Stantler for your team, because it is helpful to catch Pokemon that you want to put asleep. Oh my god, Stantler, come on. I know Stantler is not the highest catch rate in the world, but seriously, dude. Oh yeah, forgot, it used Leer multiple times. Give me a break! Yeah, I'd be intimidated by Hogan too, Stantler. Welcome to the squad. It cost me my Fluffy. At least for now. Anyway, Stantler's here to add to the Pokedex. Stantler, the bighorn Pokemon. The curved antlers subtly change the flow of air to create a strange space where reality is distorted. This is in reference to it knowing Hypnosis. If you want to give a nickname to Stantler, please feel free to recommend one in the comments. Alright, Chris is calling me. What's up, Chris? Griffin, good morning. It's Chris, how are you? My prized Oddish is doing great. Which Pokemon do you like best? You should show me sometime. Nice to hear, Chris. Always good to hear from my buddy Chris. Definitely remember him specifically. Definitely remember his unique name. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go heal and address one other thing that came up in between cuts. So in between cuts, our mother called us once again, and it looks like there is another thing for the good old mailman to give us at the Pokemart. So what do you have to say, guy? Good morning, Griffin, isn't it? I have a package for you from your mom. Here you go. We obtained the Charty berries. Very nice. Let's take a look at that real quick. Charty berry. If held by a Pokemon, it weakens the foe's super effective rock type attack. So if you're raising a Pokemon who is prone to taking a lot of damage from rock-type attacks, then you may want to give them this. Though I only really recommend it against serious battles or if you're doing something competitive. Now, it is worth pointing out while we are searching for Growlithe that our odds of finding Growlithe right now are not as good as they would be later. Right now, because I'm playing this in the morning, there's only a 10% chance that we're going to find a Growlithe, but if we were going through this area during the proper, daytime, kind of later in the afternoon, there would actually be a 15% chance that we could find him. But for now, we're just going to have to work with the lower odds. Ah, there we go. Ah, this Growlithe has Intimidate. Very nice. That's what I personally recommend on a Growlithe, but Flash Fire can be helpful too. Hey, we're going to do our usual shtick here. Always like to start off with Thunder Wave and trying to catch a Pokemon. At least while I'm still able to do that. Okay then. I'll see you guys in a little bit. Okay, found another Growlithe. I'm hoping that I'm gonna use Bite this time. The main reason I'm switching to Ceres right now is because aside from the fact that Bite can flinch opponents, running into Stantlers proved very annoying. Because Stantler often outsped Rhino, and the problem with that is that it made it very difficult to run away, as you kind of saw in previous clips. Running into Stantlers over and over really sucked while I was trying to deal with that. But anyway, we got Growlithe. That is the more important thing. Thank goodness. Growlithe's data was added to the Pokédex. Growlithe, the puppy Pokemon. It has a brave and trustworthy nature. It fearlessly stands up to bigger and stronger foes. If you'd like to give a nickname to Growlithe, feel free to recommend one in the comments. Okay, so now that that's been dealt with, read the sign here, Route 37 north to Ecruteak City. So, let's take a quick step ahead, shall we? Welcome to Ecruteak City. We're going to be ending this episode right here. We've traveled through Route 36 and 37. We've encountered and defeated, we caught a Sudowoodo, clearing the way for ourselves and many trainers around the general area. And we've gotten a few new friends along the way. So next time on Pokémon HeartGold, we're going to explore a little bit of Ecruteak City. And we're going to get a new friend for the team. See you guys then.